Hi, I'm Mike Thompson, and welcome to my Beginner Brewer's blog. Today, we're going to make a Scottish 70 shilling from dry malt extract. Let's get going. First, I got to rinse out my buckets, just in case there's any dirt and dust in there. Sanitizer, of course, isn't going to get rid of dirt and dust, so good spritz of water here on my lid as well. Now, I used to make 5 gallons each time of sanitizer. Now I've got it down to where I can do it with just 1 gallon here in this little pot. So I'll sanitize my lid and the inside of my buckets and everything, and the inside of my spigot here before I attach it to my fermenting bucket. Got my airlock. Need to sanitize all those parts. Get it in there nice and good. And this sanitizer will actually stay good for a while, so I can probably reuse it for the next batch of whatever. And now I can finally install my spigot. Making sure that it's closed this time. I'm sure you guys remember that time that I installed it open and then everything leaked out all over the floor. Now I can transfer all this stuff into my bottling bucket because I needed more space to hold my spoon and siphon and things. Sanitize the inside of this, of course, as well, just in case. Even though I'm not using my bottling bucket today, I still need it to hold sanitizer and all these other things. And now I can pour everything over from my fermenter into my bottling bucket and sanitize that. Even though I'm not going to use it today, I still want to hold it. I needed something to hold everything because I've got my siphon, I've got spoons and long things that just will... Oh, yep, that's neat. And then, of course, I rinse out my brew pot here as well because it's been sitting in the garage on top of my kegerator, and it might have collected something, even though it had a lid on it.
Obviously, this is going to get boiled for an hour, but...
And then I'm going to sanitize it as well, just because. Even though it's going to get boiled, I'm going to sanitize it. So here I go, and then I can finally dump all that back into my bottling bucket. Okay, I think everything is finally sanitized. I'm pretty OCD about this. I'm going to make sure everything's clean. There's my spoon, my siphon. Got to get my tubing clamp that I'll show you later for my strainer. Where's my wine thief? I need to find that. There it is. Alrighty. And now I'm adding 3 gallons of water here to my brew pot because I'm going to steep in the brew pot today. I've got 2 different grains I need to steep. Normally I would do it in a smaller pot, but today I'm going to do it 3 gallons in there. And it's going to take a bit, so I'm going to put it on high. This burner only goes up to 9. And I've got to using a thermocouple now, sanitized of course, to monitor my temperatures, just because it's much more accurate than a thermometer ever could be. And I really like it. And you see I'm already at 110, but I've got to get to 149. It'll take a bit. So in the meantime, I've got this 2 pounds of Cara Munich 1. I'm only going to use 1 pound for this recipe. The other pound is for my next batch. Oh crap, they're not crushed. Look at that. I'm pretty sure I ordered them crushed. Oh well. Let's try this bag. Yeah, these are crushed. Okay, good. Well, so I'll start with these then. I only need 4.5 ounces of this. See there, I don't know if you can see it, but these ones are crushed. So I'll go ahead and pour those into my little sock here. Wait a minute, I got 5 ounces in this bag because you can't order half an ounce. I'm surprised you can even order 5 ounces. These ingredients all came online from Learn to Brew. So I'll weigh out 4.5 ounces here of this. This is, oh shoot, what's on the bag? I can't read it right now. But I'll show you the recipe here on screen so you'll know what it is. So there's 4.5 ounces of that. And then I've got to move all this stuff out of the way because I'm going to have to crush my other grains, or at least just 1 pound of them. I'm not going to crush the rest until I actually need them. So I'll use this Ziploc bag here. Yeah. And I'll just pour them in till I get 1 pound. That's 16 ounces, right? Nope, only, not even close. 11, nope, a little more. 14, very close. How about right there? Boom. That's dead nuts. Awesome. So, rolling pin here that I don't have a whole lot of experience with. And so then I just use this rolling pin to crush the heck out of them as best I can. I hope this works. I'll make doubly sure that I order them crushed next time. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Now I overshot here on my steeping water a little bit because when I lower these in, the temperature is going to drop a bit. A few degrees either way, of course, is fine on steeping, but I really am targeting 149. So let me I'll turn the heat off until it gets back down there. Well, that dark malt is really, wow. Look at that. That's like, stir it around here. Make sure I get all the water inside. Even though my grains are loose inside this bag, I'm still stirring it, just a little bit to make sure the water gets in there. And of course, I want all the yummy goodness out of my grains and into the water. I'm not pushing down hard, but I'm just stirring gently. And then 30 minutes on my steeping. And you can see I've got 149 pretty much pegged here now after a couple minutes.
And then within several minutes, you can see here I was where I was supposed to be.
Wow, that's dark.
Turn the heat back on low.
I've got my burner on 3 to attempt to maintain 149. And I can't even see anything in there. It's terrible. But then I've got it down to 2 now because it started to climb a little bit. Got up to 150. And so hopefully it'll creep back down here in a second, closer to 149.0. But a couple degrees either way is fine. Usually I've got like of recipes I've seen, I've got like a 5-degree margin either way. And then so after 30 minutes, out come the grains. And I've got some nice wort over there. Check that out. All right, now it's DME time before I start my boil. I've got 6 pounds here in these 2 bags. I need 5 pounds 10 ounces, so I measured out 6 ounces there that I'm not going to be using.
I'm going to crank the heat up to high.
And then I'll use the rest of the other 2 bags. And I'll save those 6 ounces later for a yeast starter or something. That'll be good. Open that up here. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner on high because it's going to take a bit to get where I need it to go anyway. And I'll stir this in till it's all dissolved. And keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. And it looks like this once I got it all in there. Nice little foam. A little bit more here. That doesn't change the overall look, though. And keep stirring. It's clumpy, but it's not too bad. At least it doesn't settle to the bottom like LME does. Oh, up. Off the heat. There we go. About boiled over. I'm very close to boiling now. Probably got just a couple minutes left. I've only had 1 boil over ever. And that was on, I think, batch 2, because I just ran off and left it. There we go. All right, nice rolling boil. Time to add the hops. This boil is actually 75 minutes instead of just 60. So, and these hops are 4.4 alpha acid. The recipe called for 5 and 5.5, I think. There you can see, but only 3/4 ounce. So if you do the math and divide it all out, I ended up using the full ounce of the 4.4 alpha acid to create the same bitterness as the 3/4 ounce of the 5.5s. I'm going to need these here near the end, so I'll go ahead and measure this out and cut it. I'm just going to use half a tablet. I haven't used the whirl flock before, but we'll see how this goes. It's supposed to help clear things up. Kind of messy, but all right. And we'll toss that in now that we're 10 minutes out from the end of the boil. Man, 60 minutes went by fast. This liquid yeast here has this, it's called a slap pack. And so I just slapped it to break a nutrient pack to feed the yeast. Give it a good shake, mix it all up. Now it says here you're supposed to let it set for 3 hours and let it swell up as the yeast start to create gases. But I'm impatient and it says that's okay if you want to do it now. And here with the last 10 minutes to go, I'll go ahead and lower in my chiller. And I just made a mistake there, as you guys may be seen, you more experienced people. And you'll see my mistake here in a second. Time to sanitize this, throw it in there, because obviously I don't want to open it if it's not sanitary. And then I need to fill my sink. And I'm going to use most of my ice here from the tray. I've got the Harbor Freight Drummond utility pump in there to circulate my water. I'll leave a little ice for the people that want to have a drink, but not too much. Alrighty. And done. There we go. Time to get it chilled. I've got my candy thermometer there, you can see as just a backup to confirm that I get this down to where it needs to go. Once I get my pump hooked up, turn it on, and boom. Okay, and I'll let that run. And here's my mistake. When I put my chiller in the boil, I accidentally trapped my hop sock on the bottom of the kettle, and I burned it. Hopefully it's not too bad, and hopefully my beer doesn't have a hint of nylon. But this sock's a goner, so I'm going to throw it away. And there you can see the nylon burned to the bottom of the pot, but it came off real easy with a knife. Look at all that. It looks like a forest in there.
Ooh.
Cool. All right. Let's get the strainer here. This is why I clipped the strainer to the side of the bucket, because it falls in very easily otherwise. And then I simply clip my hose here to that first clip, and then direct all the wort through the strainer. And start the siphon. I'm going to go and make sure that's all okay. This auto siphon is an absolute necessity. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't have it on my first batch, but I got it for the second batch, and oh, it made it so much more fun. And this splashing action here provides oxygen that the yeast are going to need here in just a little bit. And we got a spectator there, wondering what's going on. And he really wants to touch it. Now, I got to top this off with some additional water because my OG is way too high. And also, I want at least 5 gallons of beer if I went to all that trouble. 0.56. Well, that's still high. I need to get it down to 0.41. Now, ordinarily I wouldn't pour that back in, but I'm doing it this time because, well, heck, I've already got nylon in the beer. But I've also sanitized all this, so I don't feel too bad about pouring my samples back into the beer. I think it'll be okay. 0.44. That's close enough.
We'll call that good.
Okay. Now I'll take out my sanitized yeast here. Hopefully it's activated all just fine. Yeah. Oh, there's just a little paper. It's a plastic sack in there. You can probably see it. And I'll dump my yeast in like so. Let's see here. See if I can show you that. Yep, it's just a little plastic sack down inside there. God, with my luck today, I would have poured it into the wort. There it is. Okay. That's kind of neat. I intend to save this yeast for another batch later. All right. And then I'll pop the lid on and get the airlock in here. You can see how much I've got, about 6 gallons in there this time. Normally I only end up with about 4.5. But you want to make sure that your OG is in the range. Otherwise you're going to end up with a weak beer or too alcoholic beer. And then into my fridge extension. I got a video about that. And then put the other bucket in there. Make sure that's airlocks. Nope. There we go. Alrighty. And close it all up. Set my temperature for 63-ish. And I'm good to go. Well, it's been quite a while now. This thing should be good and carbonated. I hope I've got the right mixture. Let's give it a try. Well, that sure smells and looks about right. Let's see. That's pretty good. Totally different than anything else I've brewed before. This is a Scottish style, which I don't like as well as the German and Belgian styles that I brewed before, but this is all right. Certainly drinkable. And even with my little snafu with the hop stock, turns out all right. I don't think that actually affected it really at all. So that's not too bad. Well, there you go. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Mike Thompson, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.